in causing any cities to fall. They have also conducted high-profile attacks, as you're well aware, that have resulted in large numbers of civilian casualties. But the overall number of high-profile attacks is lower than last year. So inside Kabul, for example, we had 18 high-profile attacks at this time last year attributed to the Taliban in Kabul. This year, only 12, so a reduction of about a third. Now, we have seen a new element this year, which is Islamic State Khorasan province conducting high-profile attacks, 5 or 6 that have occurred this year. But again, an overall reduction in Taliban attacks. So despite Taliban promises to safeguard civilians, the vast majority of civilian casualties have been caused by the insurgency. 61 to 72%, depending on which international organization you use. But these statistics are compiled by UNAMA as well as the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. The Taliban have intentionally destroyed bridges and roadways, resulting in serious disruption of civilian trade routes and the country's economic development. The Taliban has destroyed Afghan's infrastructure while the government seeks to build it. And so while the enemy controls slightly more terrain than before, they do not control more of the population than they did in April. Additionally, the Afghan security forces have inflicted high casualties on the enemy during this year. So as we look forward to 2017 and areas for improvement, one of the important areas is that we're looking at, or the two areas, are leadership and corruption. So these do plague some portions of the Afghan security forces, and what it has led to is a poor sustainment of soldiers in the field. So because of some ineffectiveness and corruption in the supply system, young soldiers out there on outposts don't always get the ammunition, the water, the food they need in order to conduct the fight. So this is a specific area of focus over the winter that we're working closely with the Afghan cases to the Anti-Corruption Justice Center, which has been newly opened this year, and it has tried its first cases to root out corrupt government leaders and to improve the security institutions. As I look forward to the next year, what are the things we're most concerned about in terms of risks? Now, in addition to corruption and leadership situation, we also obviously are concerned about the stability of the Afghan government going forward. I know you all have been tracking closely with the ongoing political evolution. You know, my message to our Afghan partners and members of the political opposition is that we respect your political process, but please don't allow that process to undermine security gains which have been made this year at such great cost. And one possible risk of Afghan political instability is a fracture, but we have not seen this happen within the security forces. Second concern will be the malign influence of external actors, and we're concerned about the external enablement of the insurgent or terrorist groups inside Afghanistan, in particular where they enjoy sanctuary or support by governments. Finally, we're concerned about the convergence of these terrorist groups. I mentioned the 20 groups, 13 in Afghanistan, 7 in Pakistan. The morphing of these groups into more virulent strains, or the fact that sometimes they cooperate and then the whole becomes greater than the sum of the parts. These groups participate from a complementary alliances or capabilities and networks, and it requires continuous pressure on them to prevent them from becoming something worse than they already are. We also obviously track very closely the non-security factors which affect Afghanistan's future. And again, we're encouraged by the $15.2 billion pledged from the Brussels conference. And I know this will go to focus on the Afghan economy. We closely track their population growth and demographics. The impact of the narcotics trade on the insurgency in the economy is a concern. Corruption again, and of course, Taliban reconciliation and reintegration, or reconciliation and reintegration of any of the belligerents. And so we don't directly control or influence these factors as a security lead. They all have an impact on the success of our mission going forward. So in conclusion, the capable Afghan security forces and a continued U.S. CT presence will help us protect our homeland and that of our allies from terrorist attacks and any other disruption emanating from the region. A secure Afghanistan coupled with regional and international development efforts also helps ensure regional stability. We are stabilizing what was once a deteriorating situation and have the international support to progress even further in the coming years. The Afghan leadership remains focused on the future as the men and women of the security forces fight daily for a safe and stable Afghanistan. The world, frankly, that they will not win. It lets the people of Afghanistan know that we are with them to help them realize their future. And with the result of the Warsaw Summit, we have 4 more years of commitment and support to help them enable that progress and protection. So again, thanks for covering the story. I look forward to your questions.
Reese Ali from Reuters.